I'm Lori Pop with Spark and Logic, and today's topic is how to begin using video as part of your marketing strategy. Joining me today is Paul Wolfert, Century 21 Grove Fine Homes and Estates in Livonia and West Bloomfield, Michigan. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, good to be here.
So I've watched several of your videos on YouTube, and you seem to be a professional at this. So how did you get started using video for your real estate business?
Well, I started by just doing a little bit of YouTube content. I thought that the way to do it was to just throw a bunch of videos up. So I actually kept those. They're all still live on my YouTube channel, but they're very old and they're very terrible. And then I started to do a lot of Instagram stories. So it was just really comfortable for me to make a quick 15-second clip, and then it would go away. So it was this, like I knew that it wasn't going to live on the internet forever. I could make something ridiculous, talk to the camera, and that's how I got comfortable speaking to a camera instead of a person. So I would just do that sort of, religiously. I would go to a house and I would be walking around. I would talk to the camera. So that's how it started. So it was a lot of practice by just speaking to a phone instead of a person, because it's not natural. It's not a natural thing to do.
Oh, you're right. So speaking of, so you started with your phone. What equipment would you suggest or recommend to somebody who's just starting out?
Your phone. So your cell phone probably has a better camera in it than like when I started making videos years ago, when I made my first ever YouTube videos. The camera then was nowhere near the quality of the camera that's here. So my first ever purposeful YouTube videos, I actually just put my phone on a tripod and I started recording because I didn't want to purchase, they call it the fear of gear. So it's, people start getting overwhelmed, but they go down this rabbit hole and they research all sorts of gear. And I didn't want to do that. I knew that I had a phone with a pretty good camera on it. So that's where I started. And that's where I think everyone should start. And then you sort of graduate from there. Don't buy the extra stuff until you're comfortable talking to a camera.
Right. That's good advice. I like that. Now, one of the things I've noticed is when I watch your videos, you seem to have your topic completely already memorized or internalized, and you know what you're doing. So what are the top 3 things that you prepare before you start to film?
So I don't have everything memorized. I don't have anything memorized. And what I do, I call it shooting for the edit. So all my videos are professionally edited. I don't edit them. I have an editor that I found. There's places like Upwork and Fiverr, you can get an editor. The way I do all of my videos, and now you'll be able to catch it, is I have my script here on my I research my topic. So if it's moving to Michigan, I research the topic and I read it line by line. I read it to the camera. And then if I don't like a take that I said, I'll say to my editor, don't use that one, use this one, and put in some, whatever. So I don't have everything memorized. So don't feel like you need to get it all done in one take. You don't have to do that. You can read something and then it can be edited, afterwards. Like that's what I do because I have a terrible memory.
Well, and the other thing that I liked about your channel was that you had a wide variety of topics that you'll talk upon. How did you go about choosing topics? What interests you, or what do you think interests your audience?
Well, I use a funnel approach. I call it a funnel approach. I really don't know any other way to refer to it. I figured that people would start searching for content based on living in the state of Michigan. So I have the wide funnel or broad topics like celebrity homes. And then it funnels down from there. So it's things like where to live in Michigan, pros and cons of living in Michigan, and then where to live, and then the different cities, and then the different neighborhoods in those cities. And then, if you'd like to build in one of these cities or new construction. So it all trickles down. And then the super specific videos are things like a home tour, like a raw home tour of me, like, this is what the inside, like, this is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it. And those videos don't get a lot of views, but they sure do bring a lot of business because people get really comfortable with working with me. They understand how I communicate on camera. And so I have a lot of people that reach out and they buy with me we never meet in person, which if you told me years ago that I would be doing this, I would say you're crazy. But I do a lot of video tours with my phone. We never actually meet. They write offers on the houses and they buy them. And these are like $1 million properties. So like, up in that range. So, as far as the topics go, I use tools like Keywords Everywhere and TubeBuddy. I know that's getting really off into the weeds there, but there are tools out there that'll help you pick your topics if you're in the real estate niche.
And that's a good point. I know that I've been using ChatGPT,
Yep.
understanding its limitations, but it's good for maybe a jumping off point. If I ask, hey, what are the top 3 remodels Michiganders are doing to their homes? That could be one of my topics.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a lot of tools out there that you can use to help you come up with content ideas. But I would say a lot of them focus on growing a YouTube channel. And what we have to realize as real estate agents is a lot of those metrics are vanity metrics. So, and it's still even hard for me to wrap my head around it, that I don't always want a video. Like my best performing videos are not the videos that bring me clients. Like what I want people who are ready to buy and sell. And so like my celebrity homes video that has a ridiculous amount of views on it, that's not going after my ideal client. Like that's just to like pull people into my world. So I would say don't always focus on like trying to make like some viral video, because that's, there's a lot of people in that are watching that are not your ideal clients. And what you want to really drill down to, if somebody watches a video that's all about a tour of a new construction home in a certain neighborhood, they're a much better fit for you than somebody who watches your, top, like whatever, like where Kid Rock lives in Michigan. Like it's just, it's a different, it's a different mindset for the consumer. So I think a lot of people start on YouTube and things, and they want to make these, viral hits, like, these big YouTubers. I'm like, that's not your goal here. Your goal is to connect with your ideal customer.
Excellent. Yeah. And that is something I firmly believe in, because if you appeal too broad, those people aren't going to reach out to you. They're just watching you for the fun value and not for the real estate value.
Yep.
So
exactly.
With all this information, I mean, all this learning curve that you've gone through, looking back now with the perspective you have today, if you went back to yourself when you first started videoing, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
It's the same piece of advice that it's two pieces of advice, and it's what I just said. So don't focus on the vanity metrics, because it hurts. Like when you post a video and you only get a few views, or if you're trying to get your friends and family and your people on Facebook to watch it, those aren't your ideal clients. Like that's not who you want to watch these, if we're talking about YouTube. So the vanity metrics, that's a huge one. It's like, don't worry about that. Because you want the right people to find you at the right time. And then the other thing is, like, you don't have to make these videos perfect. Like, people like you to be relatable. They want to see your imperfections. They want to see you. I have my editor keep in a lot of my mess ups. So a lot of the things that, like, I'll the words I stumble over. When we make an editing mistake, I leave them in. You know, it's great for engagement too, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And I think a lot of people obsess over making the videos perfect, and they never will be. I mean, I look back on my videos, like, that was terrible. But you know, like it's relatable, and that's what people want. They want to know that they can communicate with you in real life. They don't want you to be two different people when they actually meet you.
Right. I think they're looking for someone who's genuine and, like you said, relatable. And
Yep.
no one is perfect if you're not a newscaster, and even newscasters will stumble over their words too.
Yeah.
But
And those are the
it's
best times. Those are the best
yeah,
clips. You know, when they
exactly. You got to
fumble
make
over
yourself vulnerable sometimes.
yeah, 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 I agree.
Yeah. So my last question here, I mean, what I really liked is at the very beginning, you talked about how you first started with, it was the Instagram stories or the
Mhm.
reels, right? Because
Yep.
those were quick, easy, they moved along and then they were gone. So if you weren't real happy with it. So if we don't have some of our agents who are on that social media platform, would you recommend, hey, start with Instagram?
Yep.
And
So are you familiar with Jared James, the coach?
yes. Mhm.
Okay, so actually, so the first ever reel that I did was during a Jared James event. I went to New Orleans. I went to this Jared James event, and he said, "How many people here like how they look and sound on camera?" And like no one raised their hand, right? Like no one does. And he's
Right.
like, well, like newsflash, like no one does. Like no one does. But like that's how you look and sound. Like this is you. Um, so he's like, I encourage you to go and make your first ever reel. And that's why I did it. And what I've told other agents is you can make an account that no one ever sees. Make an account that you know, make a Instagram account and don't add anyone to it, and just practice talking to the camera and just see how it feels. You know, just explain the way that a house looks. So I encourage everyone to do that, just to get in the habit of documentation, just documenting sort of what they're doing, because people relate to it. You know, they like seeing that stuff. So I do. I encourage everybody to get on that platform, because it's easy. It's so easy.
Right. And actually, I think that's going to be our call to action from this interview here is just go ahead and do it. Get it,
Just
make
do
it
it.
private, just jump in. The water's always cold at first, but it will warm up and you'll be
Yeah, I
just fine
promise.
in there.
I
So I think,
promise.
yeah, I think that's the best advice that we can give to our audience today. Just do it. We'll be like
Yep.
Nike.
I love it.
Great. Well, Paul, thank you so much for jumping on the interview this morning, and I really appreciate your time. And we're going to make sure that everybody knows where your YouTube channel is so that they can check you out as well. So
Great. Great.
thanks so much. Have a great
You're
day.
welcome. Thanks, you
Thanks.
too.